Hey everybody, welcome to Board Together Games. My name is David.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Kathy.
Board Together Games is this YouTube channel where we cover a lot of board game related content, modern board games, right? And we try to focus on bringing you information that is going to be helpful for people who are new to the board gaming hobby, and also for families. This video is about Origins Game Fair 2018, which is coming up in, just a few days now by the time you guys see this video, June 13th through 17th. 2018 at the Greater Columbus Convention Center in Columbus, Ohio. So the theme for this year is mystery. And there's not a whole lot of information as to what that means on the website, but...
Maybe it's a mystery.
It appears as though there's a lot of investigatory work that's going to need to be done by guests, if they so choose. So Origins is known for being just a huge convention. It's one of the biggest of the year. I want to say it's in the top... Well, it's in the top 10 in the world, I believe.
For sure, yeah.
Possibly top 3 in the United States. The focus is kind of on showcasing new games from a lot of the vendors that are out there. There's a lot of free and open gaming, more so than even some other bigger conventions, but I think the more the focus at this one is on the vendors and the new things that are coming this year. There's also a ton of events at Origins, always, and it's crazy because they have a spreadsheet, and I'm going to link to, I don't know that I can link directly to the spreadsheet because YouTube will probably frown on that, but I will link to the Origins webpage that has a link to the spreadsheet that has all of the events, and it's crazy. If you've ever looked at this thing, yeah, I looked at it last year, I looked at it this year, and you just kind of glaze over after a little bit of scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. But I'll just run through a few of the things that they're going to have focus on. Obviously, gaming,
right?
Tournament-style gaming, that kind of thing. Art expositions. Origins by night is a big thing where there's a lot of events that happen at night. They're more adult-related as far as content, that kind of stuff, right? There's a film festival. There is True Dungeon, which I'm not exactly sure what it is, but they have it every year, and it's very popular. There is a lot of LARPing, live-action role-playing, including escape rooms and things like that. There's RPG game playing. There's just a ton of stuff. Check out the site for more details, originsgamefair.com. And also, the thing that kind of struck me this year is they're doing a lot of workshops and presentations and things like that. And one of them that really caught my attention, they're calling it Upping Your Home Game. And what that means is they're going to have like a workshop or a tutorial on things that you can do to enhance your game night at your house.
That sounds really interesting.
Guests. Yeah, that does sound really interesting. I may check that out. But like we said, check out the website for more details. Lots of information can be had there. Origins never sells out.
No, it doesn't.
And that's kind of a cool thing about this convention. Now, that may not always be that way, but I know as of this year, Origins still has not sold out. So if you wanted to get a ticket right now, you could, is my understanding.
As long as you can find a hotel room or a place to stay, then anybody's welcome.
Yeah. So the next thing we want to talk about is, we kind of hinted to this on social media and things like that earlier in the week, is a giveaway. We are going to do our first giveaway here at Board Together Games. Isn't that awesome?
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's very cool. We are planning, so please forgive us if we completely botch this whole thing up. But I think I have a good plan. So here's what we want to do. We are going to have, if you've seen this video, and in order to register or to be entered into the contest for the giveaway, you need to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment on this video. The game that we're going to give away is Shogunate. And Shogunate was the free game that was given away a couple weeks ago at our local convention here, Geekway to the West. And the reason that they gave it away is because it was the winner of the design contest that they have at Geekway every year in 2016. Everybody who attended Geekway got a copy of it, but a lot of you did not go to Geekway because you're not in this area. A lot of other reasons, but suffice it to say, this game, we've played it, and it is excellent. I was very surprised. I got to admit, I did not think it was going to be as good as it was. In the game, you play as an outside party looking to influence different clans in feudal Japan. In this game, you're using simultaneous action selection to manipulate the positions of the different clans that you actually have secret alliances with in order for them to gain honor. And basically, what will happen is you will trigger the end of the game when the two alliances that you have with these two clans have reached a threshold of honor, right? And if you're the first person to do that, then you call the end of the game at the end of the round, and you're the winner. You do that by playing cards which allow you to take different actions, like moving these clans into different spots in the line of succession, and just manipulate things one way or the other in order to it be most advantageous for yourself. And like I said, to enter, you must be subscribed to the channel if you're not already, and make a comment below. So we will be drawing the winner when we get back from Origins, and I think that's going to be around, let's say, I think we're going to draw the winner on June the 20th, which means you will have until June 19th, midnight Central Time, to subscribe to the channel and make your comment in order to be eligible. We will announce the winner when we record our Origins wrap-up video. So when that goes live, we'll announce who the winner is. So we will make sure that we reach out to you so we can get you the game. Shipping is on us, and that's that. We do have to limit this contest to the lower 48, continental United States, because shipping would be astronomical otherwise, and unfortunately, I just don't know if the pocketbook will allow, so we are going to make that restriction. It has to be in lower 48, continental United States. So this video is just going to be a quick look at some of the games that we are looking forward to seeing and possibly buying when we go to Origins, right?
We also want to give a special thanks to Eric Martin and Board Game Geek for putting together the preview list for us. It's a great job that they do every time, and we're really thankful that we have that to look at to see what's available at Origins and pick out what we might want to buy.
Yes.
So thank you, Mr. Martin.
It's an excellent resource. I will put a link to it down in the description.
Great.
Oh, this is also not a comprehensive list because a lot of times there are games being added to the list for the Origins preview, things that are going to show up either for demo or for sale the day before the show.
Right.
Right. And sometimes people show up and nobody knows that those games are going to be available. So these things happen. This is just what we have access to right now, and that's what we made our list off.
Right.
So my list will be comprised of for sale items only that I'm aware of. And what I mean by that is I only know the information I'm told. And everything on my list, they're telling me is going to be for sale at Origins. What about you guys?
Mine is the same way, except for one exception, and I'll explain when we get there.
Oh, okay.
All of mine are for sale.
All are for sale?
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of really good games for demo only at Origins. And even though I'm excited about most, if not all of those, they just didn't make my list. So what do you guys say we begin? Who wants to go first?
I will.
Okay, great. Let's start off with, let's do expansions.
Okay.
Cool. What's your first expansion?
The first expansion that I'm excited about is Role Player Monsters and Minions. I unfortunately don't own Role Player, but it's on my short list to purchase, and I really enjoyed my play of it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the expansion has to offer. It looks pretty interesting. Basically, not only do players compete to construct the greatest fantasy characters, but they must also gather information about the monstrous threat looming and prepare for a final showdown against the beast. So I'm pretty excited to see what that adds to the developing a character in Role Player in the original game and see where that takes us. So I definitely want to demo that and maybe even buy both games.
It's interesting you say that because that is also on my list.
Is it?
For expansions. And this is a game, Role Player, that I seriously thought when I played it for the first time. We all played it together about a year ago.
Was that Geekway?
Yeah, it was a
Yes, it
Geekway.
was.
I thought I was going to hate it. Because at the time, I had never played a role-playing game before in my life. But I really enjoyed it. And as time went on, I look back at that and I think, man, that game was really, really good. And it's been on my short list for a while, too. So I am counting on the fact that they're going to have copies of Role Player at the convention. So one of us surely will...
Oh, I'm sure.
Will be buying it, right? It's a dice drafting game. So you
Right.
roll a bunch of dice, you draft the dice turn by turn, and you use those dice to build up your role-playing character. The thing about the original game is that you built up this character, but then you never did anything with him.
Right.
And that's what this expansion solves, I guess, if it really needed to be solved.
It just takes it that step further.
Yeah, now you can do now you can fight minions and monsters and things
Right.
like that. So it looks
Right.
really, really cool. Also looking forward to it. Role Player, Monsters, and Minions. Well, we collaborated. Ryan, what do you got?
The Networks Teletime. It's an expansion for a game called The Networks, which is you're trying to build your TV station to have better shows than you did the last time.
Yeah, it's a very cool game. I would call it kind of a European strategy style game.
Kind of, yeah.
But the theme is just drips with this theme
True.
of running a TV network and trying to get a hold of the best shows and the best stars for those shows and the best advertisements to put on during those shows, and that gains you viewership, which is basically points in this game. Very interesting.
And some of the cutest, quirkiest names
of the shows.
And the artwork's
really
cute.
Yeah, artwork's pretty great too.
Yeah, it is.
And this just adds, it's Teletime, so everything in this expansion is British stuff. It's all British TV shows and actors and things like that, or parodies of them, right?
Interesting.
Now, why do I know that?
I don't know.
Because it's on my list.
Oh, hey, what do you know?
And this also adds solo play, and that's the network's Teletime.
Well, that was the extent of my expansions, so I'm done.
I'm done too.
Go ahead, Kathy. You have any more?
Okay, well, I do have one more, and here is where my exception to our for sale rule happens, because the other expansion that I'm looking at is Sagrada, the 5 and 6 player expansion, which is only available for demo. However, since this is one of my all-time favorite games, I just had to include it in my list because I'm so excited to even see it in demo form. It is a 1 to 6 player game. Adrian Adamescu and Daryl Andrews are the designers, and Floodgate Games is the publisher. And essentially what they're doing is they're adding 2 extra players, so you can play up to 6 players. So that's going to include more dice. They said they're going to include a dice tray in this one. There's going to be 2 more tool cards, 6 more window cards, a whole lot of interesting, so 12 more favor tokens. So it's going to be really neat to be able to play more people, because I've always wanted to have that availability, because I usually like to play this in a large group, and I love the dice, and I love the dice drafting aspect of this game, so I'm pretty excited to be able to include more people when I play.
I like that there's more stuff too. Yeah. More tool cards and things like that. That's great.
Yeah. So that was Sagrada, the 5 and 6 player expansion.
All right, before we start our top 5 list, I have a couple of honorable mentions. Did you guys do a couple of those or one?
Yeah. Sure did. I have a couple.
My first one is Bigfoot versus Yeti, which is the next release from Shoot Again Games. It's 2 to 4 players, 30 to 60 minutes, 12 plus. This is just a simple card game, kind of like the previous release, Pinball Showdown. And in it, you are using a hand of cards and playing cards out of that hand to start expeditions for the different cryptids, these mythical creatures that people always talk about: your Bigfoots, your Yetis, your jackalopes, your Loch Ness monsters, those kinds of things, right? And the way you play your cards will allow you to start the expeditions, collaborate on the expeditions. You can discard cards out of your hand to kind of ruin your opponent's plans on the different expeditions that they've started. All the cards have different abilities and things like that. It's just really cool how everything kind of works together, which I thought was a similar thing that I liked with Pinball Showdown, is it's just how it all kind of fits together, and how they integrate this theme into just a simple card game is very cool. I mean, to me, that's a gift, to be able to take a card game, wrap this theme around it, and really just make it feel thematic. It's really cool.
It is very cool.
So that is my first honorable mention, Bigfoot versus Yeti.
My only honorable mention is a game called Pioneers. This is published by Queen Games. Basically, you have a stagecoach that everyone's going to be using, and you're moving it around, and you have different workers, and you're trying to deliver to the worker where the location where the worker is needed.
Yeah, this one looks pretty neat. As usual with Queen Games, the production is off the hook with this one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The cardboard and all that looks really good.
This one looks really cool, and the quality looks amazing on this.
Yeah.
And that's Pioneers.
Okay, my first one is a game called Senshi, and it is a 2 to 4 player game played in 15 to 20 minutes by Arcane Wonders, and the designer is Dan Manfredini. I hope I pronounced that correctly. It is a strategy game for 2 to 4 players, carefully manipulating stacks of tiles that represent your 4 attributes of strength, agility, wisdom, and honor. Completing a battle of wits, players choose one of 3 actions each turn, and they try to stack their tiles in a train to take a single tile off any stack, and to score tiles when that time is optional. And pretty much whoever has the tallest scoring pile of any of the 4 attributes at the end of the game wins. However, the first player with the shortest scoring pile is eliminated.
Oh, wow.
So that just has a little bit of an interesting twist to it. I thought that was kind of neat. So I'm really looking forward to checking that one out, and maybe even buying that one. That looked pretty cool. That was Senshi.
My next honorable mention is Pioneer Days, and this is from Tasty Minstrel Games. Ryan talked about Pioneers from Queen Games. This is different. This is quite a bit different. It's a little heavier game. It's for 2 to 4 players, 45 to 60 minutes, 14 plus. It is a European-style strategy game, and it's dice drafting. And what's cool about the dice drafting in this one is that after you draft a die, there's multiple things that you can do with it. There's also variable player powers in this, which is something that I really tend to like in games. It has an interesting disaster track system where at the end of the round, the color of one of the die, whatever die is not chosen, will advance one of the disaster tracks. Similar to like how Peloponnese kind of does that disaster thing. But this is based on whatever die is not chosen, color die is not chosen. And then when something bad happens, it happens to everybody. So you kind of have to, you can prepare for it. Plus it's from Tasty Minstrel, which is always a hit for me. Every time I look at something to do with this game, it looks even more and more like something that I'm going to want. So looking forward to that. That's Pioneer Days.
Well, my next honorable mention is a game called Pikoko. I think that's the correct pronunciation.
Yeah.
It is a 3 to 5 player game played in 30 minutes. Designer is Adam Porter, and the publisher is Brain Games. This game is a trick-taking game with a twist. It is similar to Hanabi in the fact that you do not get to see your own hand, but you see everyone else's hand.
Okay.
There is a bidding process. I'm not quite sure how that works yet because you're not bidding on your own hand because you're not going to be playing your own hand.
Oh.
You're actually going to be playing the person to your left's hand. So you're going to be showing your hand outward and you're going to be playing the cards in the player to your left's hand.
Interesting.
I don't really understand exactly yet how it's going to score or what it's going to look like, but I'm very interested to see what the demo is because that sounds extremely interesting.
I saw one thing about this game, and that was, and I hope this comes with the game, is the card holders.
Yes, it's like a peacock.
Yeah, it ends up, when you set up the cards, it looks like a peacock's tail for
Correct.
every player.
And that's the whole thing because the cards apparently have feathers, so it's supposed to look like a peacock when it's in front of you. So that's going to be pretty, I bet it's going to be really colorful and pretty.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah. So that was Pikoko.
And just like that, we are into our top 5. Our top 5 list. We each have a top 5. And we're just going to go down the line here. Kathy, let's start with you. Your number 5.
You got it. My number 5 is Ingenious. Now, this is not a brand new game. Apparently, it was originally out in 2004.
Yeah.
So I guess it's going to be a reskin or a publish.
Yeah, I think they're just making it a little nicer.
Okay.
Making it look a little better, a little bit better quality, I think.
Well, I hadn't really known about it before, so it's new to me.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited about it. It's a 1 to 4 player game. Reiner Knizia is the designer, and you got to love most of his stuff. I love most of his stuff, so this is going to be pretty exciting. In the game, players take turns placing colored domino-style tiles on a game board, scoring for each line of colored symbols that they enlarge. But the trick, however, is that a player's score is equal to their worst scoring color, not their best. So they need to score for all their colors instead of specializing in 1 or 2.
Yeah.
That sounds really interesting to me. I love abstract games. So this is kind of up my alley anyway.
It's not that it's becoming more common. It's just that I'm hearing more about it in games now. Case in point, this is from 2004. But this mechanism where your worst scoring is your final score.
Which makes you focus on multiple things and not just one thing. Which makes it a little more rounded, and I think it makes for a more interesting game. That's my number 5, an abstract game called Ingenious.
My number 5 is a game called Funky Chicken. My number 5 is a game called Funky Chicken. This is a sequel to a game called Happy Salmon. If you've heard of that, this is the sequel to it. But instead of doing things with your hands, you're doing dance moves.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're bumping or you're spinning. The one looked like a do-si-do.
Yeah, it did.
But yeah, it does look pretty fun. We do like Happy Salmon quite a bit.
I know this one will go over well with our church group.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's my number 5, Funky Chicken.
My number 5 is a game called Sunset Over Water. This card game, and I don't know what it is. I'm on this kick for card games right now.
I seem to be too.
I love card games. I'm a card player from way, 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 way back. We all are. Trick-taking games, double, triple, quadruple, solitaire.
Oh my gosh, yes.
That's some cutthroat stuff right there. You never tried that. You need to try that sometime.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you've got the king of the filler and the designer of Role Player, Keith Matejka, who are involved in this project, which I think right there is great. This game uses simultaneous action selection, and in it you are painting landscapes in order to collect on commissions and score points and win the game. And it's quite simple, but the mechanisms are very unique in how you can play a card. That card's going to determine what order you go in, how you move, or how far you can move your character piece, and what types of things you can collect or paintings you can paint while you're moving across the tableau, right? It just looks really cool. Very much looking forward to it. That's Sunset Over Water, my number 5.
Well, my number 4, I don't have to say anything about because David covered it for me perfectly because it's Sunset Over Water.
Oh, I didn't know it was your number 4.
It is my number 4.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
My number 4 is a game called Grackles. And in this game, you are a bird, and you're placing your colored birds in a straight line on power lines.
Oh, cool.
Sounds dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, birds like those things.
They do.
They do.
See them all the time on there.
And you're trying to get as the biggest line possible with your birds. And these can be in multiple lines. And you're trying to get them 1 or 2 spaces away from each other to start a line. And then you can continue from there.
Gotcha.
But you cannot grow from a 5x5 grid. So it's tile placement plus it's similar to a game called Quirkle. And I'm really looking forward to this one. And that's my number 4, Grackles.
My number 4 is a game called Welcome To. And I think it has kind of a subtitle of Your Perfect Home. But it's a roll and write game. And I am 100%, without apologies, on the roll and write train.
Yep.
If it's a roll and write, I want to see it. Probably going to buy it. Love them all. Everyone I've ever played, I really like. I have yet to find one that I did not enjoy. And this one is you're kind of building up your own little community, your own little subdivision, basically. Your player sheet has 3 rows of houses on it. In each round, there are going to be 3 or 6 cards actually showing in 3 columns. And you're going to see 3 numbers and 3 actions. And you can choose a number and an action in a column, okay? And any player can choose any one of those combinations, right? This game boasts that you can play 1 to 100 players. So in any event, you choose one of those columns and you put the number on one of the rooftops in your houses, and every one of those 3 rows must go in ascending order. You can leave spaces, but you cannot ever break that chain of low to high on the numbers. And then the actions let you do different things like complete project plans and build pools and all these other ways to score extra victory points. It just looks really cool, really fun. I love the roll and writes. This one's called Welcome To. That's my number 4.
My number 3 is a game that has the longest board game name in history. It's called The Legend of the Cherry Tree That Blossoms Every 10 Years. It's a 2 to 4 player game, 20 minutes. The designer is Hanada Origuchi, and the publisher is Yellow Games. In this game, the flowers on the cherry tree have begun their delicate fall and are ready to be collected. Each turn, draw 1 or more flowers from the bag and try to gather as many as possible without being too greedy. At the end of your turn, you put your flower either in front of your screen to gain victory points based on your set of flowers, or behind your screen to gain victory points by having the largest group of flowers. The player who has the most victory points at the end will win.
Very cool.
That sounds really cool, and it looked like the artwork was really pretty.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing what this looks like on the table.
Well, it's yellow, so
Exactly.
it's probably going to be a phenomenal production.
Absolutely.
And their games are usually really good. I don't own a ton of yellow games, but every one I have is just amazing.
I agree.
Yeah.
So that is The Legend of the Cherry Tree That Blossoms Every 10 Years.
I want to hear about your number 3, Ryan. What is it?
My number 3 is Century Eastern Wonders. This is the sequel to Century Spice Road, and this is going to be a series. There's going to be one in 2019, and I don't know if there's going to be any more than that.
No, I think it's just
It's
the 3.
gonna be a trilogy.
This is the second one. Yeah, the third one will be next year.
This is cool because I heard that you can link both games together.
Yes, you can. So this is a different game than Century Spice Road, but it has a lot of the same kind of stuff in it. Resource gathering, but the way you gather resources in this one, which are the same resources, but you collect them differently. In the first one, you were collecting cards and playing cards to either collect the resources or trade them.
Right.
And in this one, you are navigating around a modular tile board to collect or trade those resources. And the reason you're getting these resources is to, of course, score victory points. In the first one, it was you just turn them in on your turn and collect a card that has the same resources on it. And this one, you have to travel to different corners of the board where tiles that change once they're collected will display the different resources that they need in order to score the points.
I'm really looking forward to this one, especially the part that you can link them together.
Yeah, that should be very cool.
And that's my number 3, Century Eastern Wonders.
My number 3 is a game called Sailing Toward Osiris.
Let me stop you there.
Why?
Because your number 3 is my number 2. And since I'm next, we can talk about it together. How about that?
There you go. That sounds great.
All right.
This is a 2 to 5 player game, 60 to 90 minutes, and this game came on my radar about a year ago, and I have been chomping at the bit ever since. I honestly didn't know until I looked at the preview for Origins about a week and a half ago that this game was finally going to be available for retail, for purchase in North America, and I was like, finally. The game is really kind of a dry, light to midweight Euro game where you're collecting resources, but it's just clever the way that things happen in this game.
Well, it's a worker placement game, which
Yeah.
I love worker placement.
Yeah.
So that got it for me.
Sure.
And resource management, project completion.
Yeah.
It's definitely a Euro. That's my type of Euro.
Yeah.
So
In the game, the pharaoh has died. It's an Egyptian theme, obviously.
that's right.
And the pharaoh has died, and you are traveling on the funeral barge down the river, right? And as you're traveling down the river, where that funeral barge is denotes the different places where you can place your workers to collect different resources. However, there are certain workers who are more powerful than the standard worker and allow you to do even more powerful actions and go to places on the board that you couldn't normally get to. And those are the kind of things that make games like this unique.
Absolutely.
It's not just your basic worker placement. It's how it's implemented and the cleverness and uniqueness of the things that are added to those standard mechanisms that make them good.
Right.
And that's what drew my attention to this game.
For sure.
Well, that's my number 3,
And my number 2.
Sailing Towards Osiris.
My number 2 is a game called Spy Tricks, which is a trick-taking game. And in this game, there's a secret card, and we're trying to find out what the secret card is. Every turn, the winner and the loser of the trick get to place a bet marker
Yep.
on what they think it is. The more cards that are played, the better chance that you have of finding the secret card. And you gain points with the suit, the number, or the exact card.
Yeah. This game looks just phenomenal. One of the most clever trick-taking games, and there's a ton of them out there that I have seen in quite a while. I'm looking forward to this one too. It just missed my list.
That's my number 2, Spy Tricks.
And just like that, we're back to my number 2, which is a game called End of the Trail. End of the Trail we were able to demo last year at Origins. This is from Elf Creek Games. It is a 1 to 4 player game, takes 20 to 40 minutes. To me, the clever thing about this game is that it uses a lot of poker attributes, a lot of the same types of things. In the game, you are building a poker hand, and it takes you the whole game to do it, but the way that you do it is very cool. Plus, it's a smaller box game that has a big feel, which I also really like. Again, we've got multi-use cards, which to me, again, that's one of my favorite things in games going right now. Dice drafting and multi-use cards. You are collecting cards. There's bidding. You bid on groups of cards, and if you win those cards, then you can play certain cards. The cards can be used as money. They help you go out and prospect to different areas of the board where there's a bunch of tiles. You're searching for gold, basically. The farther you make it out and the different types of terrain tiles that you look at, there's a different range of points or gold nuggets that could be on these cards. You only play 3 rounds. You get gold or points for whoever has the best poker hand at the end of the game. It's just got so many clever things going on in it that it just blew me away when we demoed it. This one is almost assuredly coming home in my shopping bag, and that is my number 2, End of the Trail. And just like that, we are at our number 1 most anticipated games of Origins Game Fair 2018. Kathy, go ahead.
Well, my number 1, Ryan, you stole my thunder. My number 1 is Century Eastern Wonders.
Oh,
I just love Century Spice Road. It's one of my favorite games that I've gotten in the last. So I got it at Origins last year. So when I got it, it was an amazing game, and I was so looking forward to the other 2 games in the trilogy. And now the second one is available, and I'm so excited to see it. And like Ryan said, my favorite part is about the fact that you can actually pair it with Century Spice Road and play it as a linked game.
Yeah.
That seems like a really neat aspect of the game.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to trying that out. This will definitely be coming home with me for sure. And that's my number 1, Century Eastern Wonders.
My number 1 is a reskin of a game called Pyramid, and this is called Pyramid of Penguin. This is in the same universe of Ice Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
The story is they found a secret passageway that led under the school, and there is a huge pyramid of ice cubes.
Oh, cool.
So this is a 1 versus many game. One player is going to be the mummy, and the other 4 players are going to be the treasure hunters. The 4 treasure hunters don't know where the mummy is, and the mummy doesn't know where the 4 treasure hunters are.
Right.
So they could be on the same space, and the mummy and treasure hunter, or a treasure hunter, might not even know it.
So correct me if I'm wrong, this game is played on a vertical board.
Correct.
Does it use magnets?
Yes.
Oh, I see. They're on either side,
Yeah.
and they might be right there, but they don't know because if you're looking at opposite sides, and it's like you
Yeah.
can't see the other person's.
Right.
Interesting.
I really like that you have the magnets instead of they're on either side because you could see where the other person is.
Right.
And I really like the vertical board
Yeah.
where you cannot see the other player, what's happening on the other side. And that's my number 1, Pyramid of Penguin.
And my number 1, I think will come as a surprise to, well, nobody here anyway, and that is The Mind. The Mind is another simple card game. I've actually been playing this game for close to 2 months now. I have played it in a multitude of different gaming groups, and this game has yet to go over poorly. The concept is simple. There's a deck of cards that are labeled or numbered 1 to 100, and you play the game in a series of rounds. Every round, you give cards to each player equal to the number of the round. So in the first round, everybody gets 1 card. In the 4th round, everybody gets 4 cards. And what you are trying to do is, as a team, cooperatively play the cards from your hand to the table in ascending order without talking. That's the game. That's the entire game. And that is an amazing concept that when I first heard it, I'm like, oh, okay, that seems different, odd. But when you sit down with a group of people to play this game, it takes on a life of its own. They give you the ability to play a shuriken. I have no idea why it's a shuriken, but when you use a shuriken, everybody at the table can discard their smallest card. You must agree as a team without talking by raising your hand. If everybody raises their hand, you use this thing, everybody discards their smallest card. That gives you some information, but you just play a number of rounds. If you have 4 players, I think it's 8 rounds. You can also gain extra lives. If you do mess up and somebody plays a card out of order, you lose a life. If you run out of lives, you lose the game, and that's it. It's just great. This game has got a ton of buzz. Like I said, I've been playing it even though I don't have a copy. We use our copy of the game, which is another card that just has a big deck of numbered cards. This one's 2 to 98 or 2 to 99. But it works great. It's the same thing. You just have a little tracker that helps you keep track of your lives and your shurikens and things like that. I'm just stoked to finally get my own copy. There are 3 other people that I'm going to be buying this game for when we get there. It's great. I'm super excited about it. That is my number 1, The Mind. And that's going to do it, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to us ramble on about a bunch of games that, No, we do love and appreciate the fact that you take the time out to watch our videos.
Absolutely.
If you are going to Origins, please, if you see us, stop and say hello.
Please.
Right?
We love when you stop and say hi to us.
Exactly. Heck, we'd like to even play a game with you. Also, you guys, don't forget about the giveaway, right? This is our first giveaway. We're really hoping this goes well. The game is Shogunate. I'll leave a link for it to BGG down in the description so you can see more about it. And it really is a cool game. Brand new copy, shrink wrapped. To be eligible, you must subscribe to the channel if you are not already, and leave a comment on this video down below. Speaking of commenting, you guys, if you like what you're seeing here, please take a minute to like this video down below, leave the comment like we said, and subscribe to the channel. That really helps us out, whether you're looking to enter or not into this contest. That would be great. We're really looking to grow this channel. We're hoping this video gives us a little bit of a push, and again, your support is very much appreciated. Also, you guys, please follow us on Twitter. That's a great way to know, what we're doing, how to keep up with us. We're going to be tweeting a lot from
Yes.
Origins. So if you want to kind of be in the know of what's going on with us and where we're at, what kind of games we're looking at, as the show progresses, that's a great way to do it. So follow us on Twitter. Also, like us on Facebook. We do have a Facebook page for Board Together Games. The information for all that stuff is across the top of the screen. We would appreciate that as well. So we are super excited to meet all of you guys at Origins this year. Columbus is a beautiful town. We really hope that you get a chance to take advantage of the city and everything it has to offer, the food.
Food's amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing week and weekend. So we look forward to seeing you there. So be safe in your travels, you guys. And remember, if you are bored together,
Board together.
we'll see you at Origins. You're fired from Board Together Games forever and banished and abolished.
That's mean.
Whatever. Sounds like we're saying Teletubbies. Let's go, Captain Kirk. You're the best. Oh, God. Thanks, cameraman Kev. We seek your approval on a daily basis, and today we have achieved it. Give it a deuce.